Okay. So Krishna Bhagwan said that my Prakriti is twofold. One is Satchitananda Brahma, and the other is Maya. Right? See if I can remove this. Stop share. Okay. And this you'll see this all the time in Vedanta. Think about it as the upper Prakriti, the higher Prakriti, which is called Para, is like Brahman, Satyam. It's also called the paramarthika satyam or the paramarthika truth. We've said all these words before. But just to simply put it, there is one aspect which is just Brahman. And then he says, my lower Prakriti is Maya, which is also called Apara Prakriti, which can also be called mithya, which can also be called vyavaharika. All of them are relating to the same thing. And these two things are always there. This upper Prakriti or the para Prakriti, the higher Prakriti, remains as it is. Nothing happens to it. It cannot change. You know, Atma or Brahman cannot be changed. It's nirvikara. It's changeless, only one, can't modify it, doesn't get born, doesn't die, just that. But this lower Prakriti is Maya, that can be changed. That is how they explain everything. So Maya becomes this world. Now, how the Maya becomes the world is also a prakriya, which we'll go through next time. But the Maya becomes the world. Now, so all the names and forms that we see around us are Maya. So you remember we talked about this last time too, that everything that we see, the object that we see, basically is just name and form. The real substance there is just Brahman. So let me just bring this home with an example. I think we've gone through this example before, but let's go through it in a little more detail. So the example is that of ornaments, gold and golden ornaments, right? So हमारे पास होती हैं bangles, you can all these different kinds of ornaments made out of gold. You can have a bangle, you can have rings, earrings, you can have a necklace, you can have anklets. So if you think about the world of ornaments, it is full of variety. So many different ornaments. So many designs too. So some people like this design and some women like that other design and men like this kind of design and all kinds of choices. So if you go to an ordinary person and I show him or her a nice pretty ring, that person will see a ring and I tell him here's another one, this is a bangle. That person will see a ring and a bangle. Two different things. And even that ring could have multiple different designs and he'll see the differences in each of these rings. To an ordinary person, the world of jewelry is diverse and varied. And let's just assume that there's only gold jewelry. Let's make that assumption that there is no silver jewelry, there is no platinum jewelry. The only jewelry that exists is gold jewelry. But even within gold jewelry, there is so many designs, so many different things. It's a full of variety. But I tell you, if you go to a jewelry, if you go to a jeweler, all he will see is gold. उसको तुम्हारा प्रिटी सा डिजाइन दिखा दो और छोटा सा डिजाइन दिखा दो, वो तोलना शुरू कर देगा. वो देखेगा इसका भार इतना है, इसका भार इतना है. Doesn't matter what the design is because different people have different ideas of designs. उसको क्या फर्क है? He just sees the gold. For him, the only reality in all these jewelries really is just gold. वो बोलेगा तुमको अरे ये कितना अच्छा डिजाइन है because he wants to sell it to you. तो दूसरा एक लेडी आएगी वो कहेगा she is interested in a different design, he will start praising the other design. He has no he has no worry or care about the design. He doesn't care. All he sees is the amount of gold in there. So these are two different drishtis. The drishti of a consumer and the drishti of the jeweler. So if you do a parallel, the drishti of a jeweler is a paramarthika drishti. He just sees the substance. What is really there is just gold. So a jnani sees what is really there. But it's not a perfect analogy. What is really there is Brahman. But a consumer who doesn't know much about jewelry making and doesn't care, just wants the object, will see all the differences. Sanjay is different, and Mukta is different, and Dheeraj is different, and the world is different, and something is good and something is bad. I like this and I don't like this. These kinds of ideas are good, those ideas are bad. All those things are there, just like in jewelry. Now, can gold ever be destroyed? Let's say, if you think about a bangle will always have a life. A bangle came into existence when some jeweler made it. It's been living a life till someone is wearing it. Let's say Mukta bought a bangle, and then the jeweler made it for her, and she's been wearing it for 10 years. And then she says, I don't think I like this bangle anymore. She'll go to the jeweler and take all these bangles and think, iska kuch aur bana do. So now the bangle has ceased to exist because the jeweler has melted it and taken the gold and made a ring out of it. Oh, that was a lovely ring. Now the ring has come into existence. The bangle is dead. But did anything happen to the gold? The gold never died. The gold was never born. Right? It's a similar thing which happens with the world here. Our world and our body and this universe is born and it dies. But nothing happens to Brahman. It just takes a different form. As Krishna Bhagavan says, you wear a different dress. And even this form, it's not something new. The ring was always there in gold. The Jori just had to take it out from the gold. He had to manifest it. It was unmanifest in the gold. Just like a bangle is also in the gold. Any piece of gold has all different forms of jewelry in it, in potential form, in unmanifest form. The question is, which form are you going to manifest it today? You can manifest a bangle out of it. You can manifest a ring out of it. So it just so happened that right now, the jeweler manifested a ring out of something that Mukta gave. So all the forms in this world always exist. Everything. Some exist in manifest form. Some exist in unmanifest form. When the pralaya happens, this whole universe, all the forms in it dissolve back into Maya. Because this is what they are, the Bhagwan's lower Prakriti. It is Bhagwan's Apara, the lower Prakriti, which is Maya. So all these forms dissolve back into Maya. They become unmanifest. They don't die. They become unmanifest. And when the new Srishti starts, then new forms or different forms can manifest out of the same Maya. Just like a ring manifested out of gold rather than a bangle. So, in reality, although Vedanta says Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, that means the beginning of a creation, the maintenance of a creation, and the death of the creation, in reality, there is no beginning or death of creation. The creation is endless, anadi. And it has just been manifesting, unmanifesting, manifesting, unmanifesting. You are part of that creation. Your body is Maya. When I die, my body will get unmanifest. This form of the body will get unmanifest. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen to the Atma, but nothing will happen to the Maya also, the name and form also. It will just, that particular name and form will get unmanifest, and a new name and form will be manifested. So that sort of, and Vedanta has this theory. That is the basis of satyam mithya, which is the substance, the gold, the substance in me is Brahman. The gold is Brahman. That today I've taken this form is like a bangle. Tomorrow I'll take another form. Maybe I'll be reborn as as some animal. Who knows? That form will be a ring. It doesn't matter. It's just a change in name and form. The substance is still the same. Okay? And the substance is called the higher Prakriti of Krishna, of Ishwar. The Para Prakriti. The name and form is called the lower Prakriti. And the question which always comes is, if you have these two different things, the higher Prakriti and lower Prakriti, then how is it Advaita? Then there are two things, not one. And the answer to that is that there are two different orders of reality. It's not a simple, it's not a cop-out. Actually, the only thing which is there is the higher Prakriti, is Brahman. Maya is just seemingly there. It's just name and form. If you really look into it, there's nothing in Maya. There is no substance there. There's nothing. It's name and form. In physics terms, because I've read a lot of that also recently. I mean, it's been very interesting. They say it's information or knowledge. Everything is information, and information is never destroyed. Even when it goes in, even when a body gets drawn into a black hole, even then the information is not destroyed. So really, that's what it is. That's what satyam mithya means. And Bhagavan Krishna has related to his two prakritis, which is in the Gita, the higher prakriti and the lower prakriti. He also says that the higher prakriti is the ashraya of the lower prakriti. That means it's what supports the lower prakriti. It is what is there behind the basis, the adhisthana. Okay, that should finish our 15 minutes, I think, or 10 minutes, whatever we promised. Any questions on this? Do you follow this?
ये तो हम पढ़ ही चुके हैं, पहले भी कर चुके हैं यार. बाकी that was interesting कि if there are two, like lower prakriti and the higher prakriti, and then how is it Advaita? But then the binding factor and the common factor in both of them is Brahman.
There is only one thing in both of them, that's Brahman. ये कहने
That's
की बात है.
Brahman.
They are trying to explain it by saying lower prakriti and higher prakriti. It's just a way to explain it.
That's just an explanation, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
In
to
reality,
clarify things, but the common factor is Brahman in both of
in everything, in both of them.
in everything, yeah.
Just like the common factor in all jewelry is gold. You
Yeah.
can say that my lower prakriti is the name and form that the gold takes. A bangle or a ring, that's my lower prakriti. My higher
Yeah.
prakriti is gold. You can say that,
Gold. Yeah.
right? Because they have to, people get, you have heard this a lot, so this is a little clear in your head. But for a newcomer, it is very hard to say, tell me, explain to me how this world is there. These objects, for them, these objects are very real. So to explain to them that this is just Brahman, he's just going step by step. He's saying, think about
Yeah.
this as my lower prakriti. Then
Yeah.
there's a higher prakriti, and then he will say how the lower prakriti depends on the higher prakriti, and then he will say that the lower prakriti and the higher prakriti is actually just one.
One.
There is just Brahman. Okay.
Right.
Mukta, you were saying something, but you were muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, nothing. Such.
Chalo. Should we call it a night then?
Yeah.
ठीक है धीरज।
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.